Welcome to the Modest Men Podcast with Jason and Justin.
I'm Jason.
I'm Justin.
And we are
the Modest
Men. Hey, that was good.
Hey, see,
that was good.
I told you we can get it.
I know. How about that? What's up, man? What's going on with you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. How is the weather?
The weather is nice. It's 55. It was a nice day. You know, we had snow over the weekend, of course. More snow in March, because it's still winter.
Mm-hmm.
But, things are good. I went to the therapist today. Emergency cancellation. They called me up. So, talked to the doc today. I talked to my new boss. It was good. It was good.
Okay.
He knew I was very unhappy from me leaving my previous job, which I start a new job tomorrow, so that's cool. So
good job.
He made note that I looked like I was in a better mood and everything. So I was just explaining to him, it's one less stress in my life and one less problem, as far as the work home life balance, and that I'm looking forward to being able to be creative and be happy while I'm cooking again. So it was a good weekend. I did the unexpected thing of not showing up my last 2 days of work and had a nice 4-day weekend. treated myself, if you will, to a 4-day weekend with the family. So it was nice. How's the weather in your end?
It's good, man. It's actually, we were outside yesterday, had a good workout. It's been like mid 60s. It's not too bad, but yeah, yesterday had I've been kind of just stretching and so forth this past week. It was kind of like a deload week, and actually I got a little heavy yesterday, and so I had a good hour and a half workout, and then I walked right into another workout. We had to lay down some concrete slabs in the backyard. My wife is I'm not gonna call her Bob the Builder, but she is definitely thinks that we're Chip and Joanna gangs out here doing all that stuff, man. So I had to move 16 80-pound concrete bags from like, I say a good maybe 50 to 75 feet.
Putting in
so
work.
I was in the World's Strongest Man contest, man. I had the bitches on my shoulder like this, and like I said, I just worked out for a good hour and a half. And so with this hour, fall, spring forward, we got an extra hour of sun. So we were back out there until like 8:45 last night. So we did a good job in the dark. It's not bad. Let's see. The other day we went to go see the Batman.
Yes.
I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Robert Pattinson.
Oh man, I will say this:
from a vampire to a bat.
It's not that far, right? It's confirmed that Ben Affleck is the worst Batman in Batman history.
Well,
sure.
we can leave that for another conversation on who
I
our
would
favorite Batman
I would just say that.
Just leave it.
I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything else. I mean, you go on Twitter or Instagram, man, and they got what's that ghetto grunk spoiling everything, using all the clip scenes from right. So, and then we had I'm officially a T-ball head coach. Well, not the head coach, but a coach.
T-ball dad.
And maybe the head coach next year. We'll see. The head coach, he's just his second year there. And so I just sent him a text message earlier last week. I was like, look, I want to help. And he's like, yeah, no problem. Come on the field. And so it was fun, man. These little kids, we got this one little kid, man. He bats he's a stocky kid. He's 6 or 5.5, and he is hitting balls into the grass, like off the tee. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had to duck out the way a couple times, man. That dude was swinging. So yeah, no, it was a good time, man. That was pretty much my week in a nutshell, man.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I've been there. I've been, when Aaliyah was doing soccer, they, if the coach didn't show up, or at one point they had coaches coaching multiple teams, they asked. My wife doesn't have the patience to be a coach. She's very wrapped up in being a cheerleader and being a fan on the sides. And, I've been there where I was volunteered for free to help coach the team or whatever. And, I've never been a coach, but we're both sons of coaches. So it kind of came naturally. And there was another parent who used to be a soccer player here for Hudson. And, so she had the actual knowledge, and, I kind of just was off to the side learning from her. But yeah, I've been there where you were asked on the fly to be a coach for your kid, or to help out because the coach needs help or whatever. So yeah, it's fun to see your kids and to be able to coach them in a format where they don't see you just as dad. You know what I mean? So that's us. That's very cool. I mean, we both witnessed that, you know, as children to our dads being coaches. So
Right. Well, I was just definitely getting my best Robert T. Moore impersonation, so that was that.
I mean, Turtle was an okay ball coach. I feel like Joe Jenkins was the better coach of our dads.
Hey man, you know what? I wish you would have played with us one year, man.
You know, that was my mom's fault. She never wanted me to play football. She thought I was too small and would get hurt. So I did flag football. So
Yeah, for sure. Now we're gonna have Ryan flag at some point, but no, it was funny. With Ryan, a couple of times in practice, she kept running up to me. She's like, "Dad, Dad." I was like, "Babe, you gotta go back out to the infield." Like, you know, I said, "I'll be with you in a second." But no, it was fun. We had a good time. I guess she's been saying all week, you know, like, my dad is my dad is a coach. He's a real coach. He's for my team. He's a professional coach. And so it was really funny. I also just wanted to get out of snack duties. So,
yeah.
you know, yeah, right. That's like, I don't want to be there. I want to be in the game. I want to watch the game. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm cheering them on. You can't do that from across the field. Like, it's just not, it doesn't work that way.
No, it's not the same.
Yeah, we got a fun-filled episode today. First off, yeah, NFL news. Good old Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
The third
is now,
or is he a junior? Sorry.
No, he's a junior. He's a junior. Coming back for his 23rd season.
I told you he wasn't done. I knew he wasn't done.
I didn't think he was done either.
The way it just came about, the way he kind of half announced it and, you know, did the Twitter post, you know, and could have just retired the day before when he was on his radio show. Like, it all seemed like it was rushed. It all seemed like he didn't really mean it. Like, it's kind of like when you see these guys and they don't want to go through the struggles of practice and training camp, and you know he was just tired, right? You know, he had a long year. He was tired. He got beat up. They didn't get to the Super Bowl. He in the moment he made a decision, whether it was him and his wife or his wife telling him to bring your ass home, you know,
right?
And so he was home for a couple weeks, and you know, then he probably realized, nah, I ain't done. And you know, his kids, you know, he probably got tired of his kids, and he was home, you know,
tired to drop
off and tired of waking up every morning, and he had nowhere to go, you know. He was like, I'm coming back, because realistically, Jay, he's still under contract, right?
Yeah, so
he still technically was under contract with Tampa, so it's not like he, you know. And I think I may not have said it on here, but I was like, well, yeah, he retired from Tampa, but I don't think he's retired. And lo and behold, he's back.
Yeah, you know, it was funny. I honestly thought that, you know, he might have gone to another team. You know, there was a lot of talk. I think we might have talked about that as well on air, about him going, you know, returning home to the Bay.
Right.
He's from San Francisco. Well, actually, he's from San Francisco. San Mateo, excuse me, yep. San Mateo. And, you know, it would have been a homecoming for him. But a couple of years ago, when Niners went to the Super Bowl and Garoppolo couldn't get him over the hump, you know, there was a lot of talk of, you know, him obviously coming to the Bay. And, you know, the Niners kind of snubbed him. John Lynch, whatever, you know what I mean? He was like, yeah, we're not going to sign Brady.
Right.
And, I mean, how could you? You know what I mean? Because it's not too many situations where you go to a Super Bowl and it's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and replace my quarterback. I mean, recently you saw with, you know, Jared Goff. But even with that circumstance, like Jared Goff, that was a couple of years ago when he went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So it wasn't like he was going to immediately be replaced. You only see that in basketball. I mean, David Black got replaced, you know, mid-season after going to the finals before that, you know. So, but the whole thing, it was kind of set up for Brady to come back. I don't know. You know, he looked at what was going on in the landscape in the NFL. He saw that Aaron Rodgers didn't have any obstacles.
Mm-hmm. The NFC East got a lot easier, didn't it? Or the NFC in general, not just the East.
Right.
But...
And I think Aaron was punching the air at that point, right? He's like, damn it, Brady's coming back. So, you know, I'm excited for him, man. I mean, the game, you know, there's still a purpose with Tom Brady. I mean, he statistically had one of his best seasons in his career last year, should have had MVP, you know, but you see a pattern. So they win a Super Bowl. And I mean, what kind of a pattern is this, right? Like, this is just amazing to even say, you know, Super Bowl win, you know, losing the playoffs, Super Bowl win, losing the playoffs.
Right.
And he's been going through this cycle over the past, you know, 7-8 years, you know, where this is the case. And so we saw it a couple of years ago when they played Tennessee, and his last play was a pick.
Right.
I thought it might have felt a little different because of the fact that he didn't throw a pick on his last pass.
Well, yeah, they had to come back and everything, so it's not
right.
like he ended on a Peyton Manning note.
Bad note, exactly, right. So I thought that he might have been happy with the retirement, but I don't know, man. Around that time, he just needed a little bit of a refresh, not doing shit. I get it. Stretch out, get fat for a couple of weeks. I don't know how much you can get fat within 2 months, but maybe. I don't know, man. It was fun. Him and Ronaldo, they were over watching him play the other day.
Ironically, right? He went
Saturday,
and saw United play, and all of a sudden, a day later, he's like, "I'm back." All right.
Exactly. Yeah. Did you see? They were on the field talking, and Ronaldo asked him. He's like, "So are you done?" And he's like,
"Yeah." He was waffling. Right. He was totally. Right? He was totally waffling.
So this is something I got to talk about, Joe, because I don't know if you saw that. Yesterday, a few hours before Brady's announcement that he was returning, his last touchdown ball to Mike Evans sold for over $500,000.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Like, and then 2 hours later, mysteriously, Brady just go ahead.
What a coinky dink.
But I'm just wondering though, like at that point, did the seller get a refund or the buyer get a refund?
Oh, for sure. I'd be pissed.
Oh yeah, for sure. Can you imagine?
The value went.
It's like I just spent $500,000 for this shit. It's like
down.
The last touchdown ball of Tom Brady, right? And then, yeah. Oh man. Browns news. Oh man. I mean, it's kind of bittersweet. It truly is. I'm wearing my that we shit don't live here no more. The famous Jarvis Landry quote. That was from Hard Knocks a few years ago. GV artwork with the T-shirt. Jarvis has been released. We brought in Amari Cooper. Really excited for that move. And, I thought that Jarvis might have actually, still wound up as a part of our team. But, I think there were some constructual things that he wanted. He wanted to be a Browns player for life.
Yeah, he wanted more years.
Yep. And who wants to be here for more years? He's seen the good and the bad, man. Like, that was tough. So he's a free agent. He might end up in Tampa.
Also Kansas City.
Oh yeah, I saw Kansas City.
I saw Bills and Chiefs as the first people reaching out to him.
Okay.
Well, no, you're right. I mean, who else wants to stay here? But so he set the culture. He set a precedent. He said, "Fuck that losing shit." Fuck being on bikes during practice because you're a veteran. Right. All that's gonna stop. Like, he was the catalyst, and he won't get enough appreciation for that. And he might not ever hear this, but we do appreciate what that man did for us.
Absolutely. And Cleveland, I gotta say this is for the Cleveland fan base, this toxic Twitter culture.
Talk about it.
Jarvis Landry, heart and soul of the team, right? This dude bust his ass. Like, he came back injured. He had hip surgery that one year, came back, rushed back, he got on the field, performed. When I drop a critical ball, I'm not blaming anyone but myself, saying I should have caught that ball.
Right.
He was super accountable. He held others accountable. He brought in that winning culture. And, coming off a franchise where we just had, like a bad streak, including a 1-31 in 2 seasons, man, Jarvis, thank you, man. Appreciate you. You are forever a Brown. There was a lot of talk that, when Odell left and that was unceremonious, his exit, they said that Jarvis went quiet and he didn't talk to the media anymore. What are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to dog your quarterback? What are you supposed to, dog your best friend? At the end of the day, it's a business, and, there's not much talk when you're losing. Why talk to the media when you're losing? There's just no point of that. It's just the same repetitive shit, whatever, but people saying that his legacy is kind of tainted because he didn't step up in the time of need. Well, there's 52 other players on the team who didn't step up in that moment. You can't just look at that guy and say, you know what? Yeah, no, Don't play that, man.
Well, I mean, and he was a good soldier. He didn't choose side. By him not speaking, he basically was just trying to stay the course and be a team player. Like, speaking up would have put him on either side of the fence, and it might have been easier whether he was told to or not. It was probably better for him to not say anything, and that didn't mean he was taking Odell's side, and it didn't mean he was taking Baker's side. But it was more about the team still winning.
Absolutely.
It was more about still trying to make something out of the season, make the best out of it. And that's all you can ask for with that man. Now, with that being said, we bring in Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
You have who is still in the prime of his career, who is, despite what people say, skip and what have you, he's a legit number one.
Amari Cooper is the best route runner in the NFL.
You know, he is a guy who's, you know, every receiver's inconsistent. So to say, well, he's good only at home and he's sketchy on the road. Well, I could pull up stats for all sorts of receivers about, you know, what they're good at and what they're not good at, whether it's inside, outside, day games, night games, whatever. So to pick that man apart is again, Twitter childish. It's what, you know, the trolls on Twitter do. But the fact that we are still trying to improve our team gives me hope that, you know, we are still trying to do whatever we can to win as a team. So, you know, even though we are objective fans, I appreciate that they're still looking forward in what we're trying to accomplish, which is win a fucking Super Bowl.
We got too much talent on the team to just, you know, rebuild. This is not a rebuild type situation. You know, it's simply a plug and play type situation. We know what we got to do. We got to get a receiver, right? We got to get a couple. The market is still out there for potentially to get another receiver. You know, Amari Cooper, I'm gonna say this about Amari Cooper. I've seen him in Oakland. Firsthand, that dude is electric. You know, the best route runner in the league, hands down. Like, you know, just his footwork. I'll say him, Devontae Adams, Odell. Those dudes are elite route runners, and their footwork is second to none. Period. Okay, so think about what I just said. Okay, we got the fact that he's an elite route runner, so he can get open pretty quickly. Cowboys' game plan didn't cater to him getting the ball a lot. I think it was the first game that they played the Bucks. He had, you know, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards, 10 receptions. You know, CeeDee Lamb is the focus of that offense. Also, you had Dalton Schultz. You had a few other guys, Gallup, Cedric Wilson. Yep. You know, like, there was a lot of targets that Dak threw the ball to. So he was essentially became the number 2 down in Dallas, or maybe the number 3 by default. And so because there was games where he had 3 or 4 targets, but if he's open, he's gonna, you know, be able to do something. So it'd be interesting to see. Him and Derek Carr had a great connection when they were together in Oakland. You know, there's still rumors and talks that, you know, Derek Carr could end up in Cleveland, but let's just focus on what we got here. If you got Baker Mayfield right, and he's still the quarterback coming up this next season, which, you know, all signs point to that being the case. Yeah. You know, Amari is a big target. He's a real big target. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But we got to keep it simple. I think there's one other receiver, and you was trying to break the story earlier, which I'm hopeful that may be the case. It might have been an April Fool joke.
I was a little early. I'm sorry.
By you. Yeah. With Allen Robinson potentially coming to Cleveland. He's a target for us, and we're on a short list of him. That would be awesome. That dude, another guy, super electric. I still like the fact that we're still getting big name targets to come to Cleveland. Hey man, did you see what the Bengals did?
You know, I kind of scanned it, but I really didn't see who they signed. Who did they get?
So they got some offensive linemen for Joe to keep him upright. So they signed Alex Kappa from the Bucks. He's a guard. And then they signed Ted Karras, who is the guard center for the Pats.
Okay.
So, I mean, these dudes kept Brady upright for a little bit. Probably the sole thing to keep Joe upright. But they needed to do that. It was evident. Yeah. So, the Jags actually signed Christian Kirk to a $84 million deal.
And they also got Evan Ingram from the Giants.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, wow. the Jack's trying to do something. Give your boy Sunshine some targets, huh?
He's got to be upright, and like you said, he's got to have somebody to throw to. Pittsburgh signed your boy Mitchell. Don't call me Mitch Trubisky.
Oh God, yeah.
So he's the new starter.
What's up with the quarterbacks talking about? Don't call me Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
it's
Tyrod, don't
Mitchell.
call me Tyrod.
Right. What is it? Matthew, don't call me Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they get real finicky about that. I mean, I go by Jason, T Rock. You know, you got all types of names. Tid,
Kirk, don't call me Kurt Cousins.
Yeah, I mean that's real. I mean, because it is Kirk. Yeah. Jacksonville also signed Brandon Sheriff from Washington. So
that's a good signing.
Yeah, it is. For context, man, Christian Kirk is getting paid $18 million a year. Michael Thomas is getting paid $19 million a year. So that's it just don't make no sense.
Yeah, but he don't have a quarterback that can throw to him.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. It's a whole bunch of speculations out there.
Crab legs throws to the other team, and
right, speculations.
You know, the other guy runs the ball and he throws.
Shout out Publix.
Yeah, shout out crab legs.
Oh man!
Apparently, I'm supposed to do more shout outs because you do all the shout outs. So shout out Publix with the mojo chicken. You know, that's that rotisserie with the adobo mojo seasoning. You know, so shout out to Publix. Shout out
Question
Cuban
for you,
bread.
Who has better rotisserie chicken, Costco or Publix?
Oh snap! For the value though, you got to go with Costco because it's like $4.99 for a rotisserie chicken. Like,
right?
I can't beat that price.
No, not at all. Who else you shouting out?
Man, shout out. You know what? I got it'll come. You know, I'm early. Right. You know, I'm a rookie in the shout out game. Your shout outs come off the top of the dome. I can't even comprehend how fast you shout out everything.
I got more shout outs for the end of the show too. So there's a segment for that.
All right, brother, let's talk about March Madness. All right. So, you know, it's tournament time. You know, it's that time where everybody, you know, thinks they're a bracket genius, and you know, everybody hops on ESPN or Yahoo and they fill out a bracket and they think they know, you know, who's gonna win. You know, the tournament is back in its normal format. You know, last year they did it in a bubble in and around Indianapolis. You know, there was the incident where the women didn't have the same facilities as the men, and you know, there was that whole controversy. And
I totally forgot about that.
You know,
that shit crazy, right?
2019 there wasn't a tournament at all. So, you know, it's back to the normal format, you know. So, you know, you got your traditional. So, you know, just quickly, your top seeds are Baylor, Kansas, Gonzaga, and who am I missing?
Kansas, Gonzaga, Zags.
I'm missing somebody. It's
Kansas,
yeah.
Kansas. You know, Bill Self.
Ohio State made it. You know, Mobley's brother USC made it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hometown MAC tournament winner Akron made it. You know, after a lovely diss track by Kent State leading up to the championship game, and then they got waxed by Zippy and the Zips. Quick shout out to Zippy. Is Zippy a girl or a guy?
Probably a girl.
Zippy is a girl. That is correct.
Yeah, right.
Because, you know, kangaroo pouch.
Yeah.
Zippy's a girl.
Okay, you're right. Okay.
So March Madness wise, anything that, you know?
Man, you know, it's funny. My bracket's probably going to be blown up after the first round or two, but I got the Zags, UCLA, OSU, and
7 seed.
Yep, I got them and USC in my Final Four. Those were my two, and with my 4 teams in there, and I'll go with UCLA winning it all.
Okay.
This year, yeah. So, yeah, you mentioned obviously Mobley's brother Isaiah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that dude's a baller. He's a junior, I think.
Yeah, he's a junior.
Yeah, tough kid. Drake London apparently used to be a hooper for USC basketball too. Star receiver for USC Trojans, and
Right.
he will be a first round draft pick, right? Yeah.
Did you see that Virginia Tech won their first title beating Duke in Coach K's final year?
I saw that, of course.
After Coach K also lost in his final home game to North Carolina, who was unranked.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Yep. And they won't make it out to Sweet 16. So
no, I think my Final Four, I'll go Arizona out of the South. Out of the East, honestly, I like UCLA as a 4 seed.
Okay.
Midwest.
Yeah, they got some favorable matchups, right?
Yeah, they sure do. Midwest, I mean, like Auburn's a 2. I don't really trust them. Wisconsin's a 3, but
right,
that's a tough bracket. So honestly, it might end up being Kansas just out of chalk.
Right.
Baylor's been dominant. They have. Like I said, I picked UCLA, but that's not really a tough region. Villanova's a 2 in Arizona's bracket, but Zone has been strong.
Right.
They're young and they're hungry. And then Gonzaga's got that kid. What's his name? What is that kid's name? Well, he might be the number 1 pick.
Okay.
Long and lanky kid for Gonzaga. I can't think of his name, but they're legit. I think they just gave Duke a number 2 out of that region, out of history. They didn't really earn it, but
right.
I could see Gonzaga and probably Baylor in the final.
Yeah. Like I said, my bracket could be blown up, after the first week or, the first round or two, because I got UCLA and OSU in the final. So, just you never know what happens. We've seen crazier things happen. You touched on it earlier, Akron and Kent. So these dudes, literally 4 Kent State players got suspended, which it's soft anyway, right? These dudes made a diss song, which isn't soft. It was kind of funny. I was down laughing about it, and they were on Snapchat singing it, whatever, after they just won, going to the finals, and they were going to play Akron. And the MAC decided to suspend the players, and I thought it was actually for a game, but it was actually for a half, so it wasn't that bad. But still, like, you can't suspend these players, man. Like,
yeah, weak sauce. Just
we've been saying Akron for a long time. I went to Kent State, so
I went to Akron, even though I was an honorary Kent State because I was living in the job.
Yeah, it's always there, right? Exactly. So we've been saying that for a long time, man. That was soft. Mac, come on, man. We've said worse things. We've done worse things. Please, they're kids. Let them be kids, man. So I know March Madness is always a typical time of, during March, etc. That's usually, but we usually have WrestleMania. And this is a big time every year. We've been to plenty of wrestling events in our lives. WrestleMania is one of the biggest. I got a chance to go down there in New Orleans back in 2018. So that was a lot of fun. But before we get into this segment, we want to take some moments to pay our respects to one of the innovators of pro wrestling, Scott Hall. He passed away this morning,
RIP,
at the age of 63.
Yeah, had 3 heart attacks after complications from a surgery, and it was he was in critical condition, and he didn't make it.
No, man, it's super sad. What was your favorite Scott Hall moment?
Oh man, honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is him and Shawn Michaels ladder match.
Great match.
The original, when the Outsiders first showed up, wreaking havoc. That was a big deal. He was, honestly, going back to like even wrestling games, like he was one of my favorite players to play in the wrestling game, just from his finisher, the Razor's Edge. Like he was just he had that charisma, he had that it. He wasn't 7 foot, and he wasn't, he wasn't technical like Bret Hart, or he wasn't, the Undertaker, who was menacing. But Razor Ramon was like a guy you just didn't mess with, and like he was a blue collar guy, but at the same time he was a superstar.
He was one of those rare, like especially during that time too, like size and speed. You didn't have a lot of that in wrestling, back then, until, like he kind of set the tone for a lot of those guys coming in.
Yeah.
And, man, he'd be surely missed. Yes, you talked about it, the Outsiders, when they jumped over to, WCW and subsequently became NWO. And, turned the wrestling world up on his head. And, you know, like, I've never seen anything like that. I don't think you'll be able to see anything like that again.
To set trends, like to be renegades on purpose, like to buck the system, to, you know, it was something that had never been done before. It was a concept that, you know, at first it was like, are they trying to ruin the show? Like, what are these guys doing? Like,
right.
But it was, you know, they were doing things on their own terms. They were, whether it was scripted or not, like it was something that changed wrestling forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, rest in peace, man. I saw him down in WrestleCon back in 2018, man. You know, he looks like he was you know, living his best life, man. Damn, he can cut a promo. Yeah, he was a good one, man. WrestleMania, 18 days away. It's crazy. 2-day event. It originated obviously exclusively on Peacock. It originated back in 2020 during COVID, and they were trying to figure out what to do with WrestleMania since there was no live crowd, and so you know, like, you had a few things going on. So this one is fun. We got
your boy's back. 19 years. The rattlesnake is back.
I know. Crazy. That's a wild match, man. Because, you know, KO and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin is back after a 19-year absence, and, you know, he's gonna wrestle. I mean, you talk about one of the most polarizing figures ever.
Strap up the knee braces,
right? Yeah. Shout out Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Get them Steve Weisers going.
Right? Oh, man. Shout out to the guy who also tossed those beers, too. That dude was clutch.
He had accuracy. He had Peyton Manning
for sure.
Field awareness. Like, we talked about the field vision with the almost like court awareness. That guy had crazy accuracy. It was rare that he didn't hit Stone Cold in the hands with a beer.
Exactly. In stride.
Whether
every time
he was on the rope or, you know, walking into the ring, that whoever that guy was, you think it was overhand, you think it was underhand or overhand?
I thought I saw him toss it underhand, but he would toss him underhand, it would like sky up, right?
I bet you that guy is a champion cornhole player.
Oh, for sure, right?
or not flip cup, but like beer pong. I bet that guy is money.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he might be a good free throw shooter too, doing the Rick Barry. So, you know, that's one of the matches that highlights that. Austin, I took a picture of Austin. Me and my family. That dude is awesome. He also has really good beer. Sorry, I don't drink beer anymore, but when I did, it was great beer. El Segundo Brewing Company, Broken Skull, Pale Ale. It was great. They're coming out with a new one, and it's American Ale. And I'm sad because I think that was probably the first time that I realized that I don't drink anymore. I saw him advertising the beers, and I was like, damn, I'm just probably really good. So someone out there, y'all got to give us a review on that. So that's one of the match. Kevin Owens been calling out the state of Texas. Booker T has something to say. I thought that might have been a match. And then they had the tag match last week, and him and Rollins lost. And so I figured that was going to be the match. So Austin finally responded to him, and it's going to be the Battle of the Stunners.
Well, he pissed off everybody in Texas. He was talking about Shawn Michaels. You know, he was talking about JBL. You know, he, like I said, he talked about Booker T. You know, how could you be from Texas when you were a wrestler? Your moniker was Harlem Heat. You know, he was getting on all the Texas wrestlers. So he may get a curb stomping from all of them, probably more than likely before it's over. But yeah, Austin's.
It might be one of those situations where you have, and this happened down at in WrestleMania down in New Orleans. That was when Cena was trying to call out Taker. You remember that?
Yeah.
And he's like, Taker, come out. He's like, I want to wrestle you. And he was there, and he had a promo in the middle of the ring, and then he went back to a seat, and then all of a sudden Taker, you know, like gave him a match, and then it was over in 90 seconds. I mean, you might see a couple stunners, and then it's over with, you know. And then he might, I don't know, who knows, because I don't see Owens winning that match, but we've seen crazier things.
Another favorite wrestler of yours,
champ versus champ.
You know, you're a Brock guy, you know, versus the tribal chief, the head of the table, the needle mover, you know, Mr. I am WWE is you know,
acknowledge me,
Mr. Acknowledge Me. He's putting his title up against Brock Lesnar in a title for title, and that's going to be whether they unify it and they bring back one title, but that's the headline of of Sunday night.
Okay, so it's a rematch of WrestleMania 31 and 34. It's interesting. We've seen 31 was in the Bay. That was at Levi Stadium. That was pretty wild. We'll see what happens, man. Did I lose you there? Mr. Ted Moore has left his seat. He was tired of me talking about some bullshit. Yeah, we have to extract that from the tape.
Apologies, I did mute it though, but my dog snuck in.
It's fine. I'm just messing with you. Yeah. So, champ versus champ, Brock versus Roman. This is a rematch of WrestleMania 31 and 34.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of cool storylines here. So Heyman screwed Brock over, which was wild. You saw that interview with Brock, right? You were telling me about that.
Yeah.
And he had the line out and said that Heyman, screwing him over hurt him, and he's just been with us for so long, and that was something that's been a little bit weird of him not being by his side at this point in this moment. That hurts him. Does it happen again? Who knows? Is there interference?
More than likely.
I don't know.
I don't think it'll be a clean finish, just because they can drag it on. There'll be controversy to whoever wins. They'll be able to move it to Survivor Series or a super show overseas, because they're doing the Abu Dhabi thing or Qatar, whichever, they do a super show, but they will drag this. Well, the other person that could come into this is The Rock. So next year's WrestleMania is LA. So whether he interferes or he comes out after the winner, is holding both titles, and Dwayne, will come out as a kickstart to a year from now. That's my scenario. Is I think he'll come out. He may not interfere, but I think he's going to come out at the end and do the stare down and do the point to WrestleMania and intimate that next year they're going to go whoever.
The worst thing that could happen is a no contest. That would be the worst possible ending in this. The title has to exchange hands. Now, Brock doesn't necessarily have to win the title or, beat Roman. I don't think Roman has beaten Brock clean.
No, not to this point.
Yeah. So, I mean, it only makes sense if that happens, but I've seen signs, including, I have to put this on the picture of this, is when Roman wins, we ride. I post this shit up all the time. It's the funniest thing. It was a guy sitting in front of us in New Orleans. He had that sign, and Brock took off the gloves and beat the shit out of Roman and during that WrestleMania. So who knows what happens? But the one that happened before that, back in WrestleMania 31, that was Seth Rollins came out and curb stomped for the title win. So we'll see what happens. There could be a couple of different scenarios, but I just think it should be a clean finish. I think it may be like a whole bunch of unlimited, finishers, right? Like you come out with 5 unlimited finishers, like he did back at SmackDown versus Raw.
Full bar. That
could be fun, right? Here's something that's interesting. Speaking of rematch, so you got Charlotte versus Rhonda. That's what are your thoughts on that?
So they're gonna give it to Rhonda. They've been pushing her as a super baby face. They've pushed Charlotte as the ultra heel. It's a rivalry renewed and all of that stuff. So it's gonna go chalk. Like, it'll be Rhonda. They've been back and forth and all over TV and social media, and
right.
They brought Rhonda back to be the antithesis to Charlotte. So I don't see any other version besides, you don't bring Rhonda back to lose at WrestleMania, I suppose. So
maybe you do.
They've become predictable, honestly, and it'll be Rhonda in some sort of. And that's another one where it's like the Goldberg rules, where it'll probably be like a 3-minute match. and Rhonda catches her. It'll be submission versus submission, and Rhonda will catch her in some sort of reversal, or she'll flip a figure four into her armbar, whatever she does, and that'll be that.
Right. I think Charlotte wins. That would be fun. I love Rhonda. I do, but you can't just continue to keep on, just being so predictable that you just know that Rhonda's going to win every time she steps in the ring. That shit is over with. So it'll be fun to see Charlotte win this time. We got a surprise out there, and I'm not sure what happens out here, but I know Rollins doesn't have a match. Him and your boy KO were tag team partners, and now that KO has a match, Seth Rollins should have a match. And there's a lot of rumors out there swirling around that Mr. AEW himself, Cody Rhodes.
Well, as of 9:20 my time, Raw is in Jacksonville, so there are plenty of reports that say that Cody could make his WWE return tonight in Jacksonville, where AEW started, as the coming home, or the homecoming of where he left WWE to start a new company, and now he's back in WWE 3 weeks before WrestleMania. So that would be probably the go-to of what they would do with Rollins, because I honestly don't know, because he doesn't have a story or a feud with anybody. Everybody he was feuding with is in either holding the tag titles or have a match. So it's like,
right,
he doesn't have, they got to create a quick, some sort of, drama for him, because he was also, he had a quick run with Roman a couple months ago, and it quickly went from him and Roman, and he was intertwined with is he up for the title, is he in the title picture, to being in the tag title picture and not even in that now. So it's like, you gotta think something quick for that man.
For sure.
And that'll be a fun match, and
should be for sure. Look at us breaking news every time we have an episode.
Yeah, we're good for that.
Right. Another interesting match. Your boy Austin Theory, Vince's boy, has a match with Pat McAfee. Our boy Pat.
Oh, that's your guy. I mean, he's okay.
Yeah. Oh man, he's the punter, bro. I said, Pat is living out all of our childhood dreams out here. Said, so Vince and Pat have beef, which beef. We'll see that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think that Pat has some real star potential. Taking it back to the olden days, right, where you had old Jesse Body Ventura commentating, and then Vince out there commentating, but they can lace up the bootstraps and get out there if they needed to. Him and Adam Cole had a great match a few years ago. That was Pat has I could see that they're using this as a tester to see how he performs and how the crowd response is with him, for him being a part-time to full-time superstar.
Mm-hmm.
But Austin Theory has a match at WrestleMania. Oh, okay. I guess it pays off to be Vince's
He's
boy.
the new chosen one for Vince. I guess that's their angle with him. So I think they'll put each other over. Pat, like you said, Pat's a great athlete, and Austin Theory is the next coming of your Seth Rollins or your Roman Reigns, or your whomever. So he's that next big thing, and he gets to showcase his talent at WrestleMania, and Pat
for sure.
Pat will hold up his end. I mean, he's a natural athlete, even as a punter. Like, he's a hell of an athlete, so he pulls off wrestling very well. So that's going to be something to watch. The other end of the women's championship on the other show is going to feature a rematch of Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins' wife, versus Bianca Belair, and they are taking it, whether it's it's the new thing to do, but
kayfabe.
They're taking it through social media about taking shots and burns, and they might as well put out diss tracks at this point. But so it's a rubber match. I think Bianca will win to get back for her. She lost to Becky when Becky made her return. It was like a 10-second match.
Yeah, they had no business
You know,
taking the strap off of her like that. Yeah,
she was on a high, and
for sure.
Becky came back in her first match, air quotations. It was a 10-second squash, and they've been beefing ever since. And now they get back around. Becky, quote unquote, made her get to the back of the line, and Bianca has worked her way per se back to the front. And so now they fight for the third time, and it'll be probably the final match of night one.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be a nice little cap to featuring one of the current stars and the new hotshot who's making a quick rise to stardom. So
they had no business taking off the title off of Bianca Belair last year.
No,
no business at that. Like, Becky didn't need to be put over. Like the women's division, man, is complicated enough. Like, you didn't need to have that. And I think that's one of the problems with WWE in the first place. Like, they tend to overcomplicate things, and then you release a ton of talent, and then you still do the same things that you normally do by putting the same people, over. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. So the title used to mean something. It still means something to a few people out there, man.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're doing right now, their creative team is not. So shout out to Biggie, man. Rest up, man. Get some rest. That dude, one of the talented wrestlers that we have out there, and he broke 2 vertebrae.
Mm-hmm.
On a botch.
Yeah, for all those who didn't see it, he was on the outside in a scuffle with a wrestler on Friday, and it was a belly-to-belly suplex, and Big E got tossed over, and it was definitely a botch. And the way he went over, he was not able to duck his head, and he mm-hmm. definitely hit the mat neck and shoulder first, head, neck, shoulder, instead of ducking his head and hitting the ring floor with the small or the top of his back, the way they're supposed to take the bump. So yeah. He's legit hurt.
Yeah, that was bad. And backyard wrestlers don't do that shit. All right. And I feel like we got to put out that caution message for even professional wrestlers.
Yeah, fake wrestling trained professionals.
Yes, please. Be careful, man, and don't do some shit that that you can't do. Yeah, because you can end up paralyzing someone. So we got a special guest. We got our first guest. Yes, we got our first guest.
We have a guest.
Yes, we have a guest.
Somebody wants to come talk with us?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
That is.
Oh, there he is. He's in the waiting room. Look at that.
He's in the waiting room. So before I let him in, go ahead and give our listeners.
So for the listening viewers, we have today our first guest. It's wrestling season. So who else to bring on but a friend of both of ours, a gentleman that I went to school with, Stevenkaidouglas, right? So he's a former pro wrestling referee. He's part-time conservation, saving the planet. He's on his Captain Planet. He's he cut out all the wonderful things that we eat in life to be healthy, natural living and eating right, so he's doing everything right. And with WrestleMania coming up, who else do we think, just off the top of the dome, we like, well, we got to talk to Steve. We got to bring in Steve. We got to bring on this gentleman just to talk everything wrestling and what's going on in his life. And it was just, he's one of our brothers from another. So it was very easy just to bring this guy on just to say what's happening.
Absolutely. We got stories to tell. I don't know if we're going to get through all of them, but we got a few.
We'll try.
So, yeah. So I'm going to let him in. Hey, look at you.
What's
up,
happening? Hey, should I get Bluetooth? Should I get Bluetooth headphones, or is it okay without them?
No, we hear you pretty good. You're good.
Loud and clear.
Okay.
Welcome in, Mr. Steven.
Good to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Look at that.
Good to see y'all's faces in lifetime.
Right?
What's that?
It's been a while, brother.
Yeah.
I said it's been Nice.
How you been, man?
How's the weather?
Oh, it's beautiful right now. It's been cold for the last day or two because we had a storm come through, but right now it's like 75. It's perfect right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, he says cold, but he's talking about Florida cold, so it's not really cold.
Hey, in my defense, it was 36 when I woke up yesterday. That's cold.
Wow.
All right.
That's colder than out here.
How are things otherwise in your life, man?
Man, I'm so blessed right now. Things couldn't be better for me. I think it had a lot to do with me just like getting out of my own way, like mentally and stuff, and just kind of letting things fall into place instead of trying to control everything. Just letting things happen naturally, and with wrestling and with just personal life and stuff, I couldn't be happier right now. I'm feeling great.
Cool. So
the mental is 100.
Right. So with that being said, tell us about how you got in contact with those gentlemen at Control Your Narrative, since that's the T-shirt you're rocking.
Yeah, we got some big things coming up. I've been reffing for about 2.5 years now, and fortunately been able to meet a lot of good people in this business through my time with WWE and MLW and all that kind of stuff. And so one of my good friends that's a wrestler in this business, his name is Jake Logan. He actually reached out in my behalf to bring me on as my brother as well as a wrestler. He just thought that what they're going for over there with the whole, the big corporate wrestling kind of shuns people like us, like people that, really deserve to be, at the top. And he kind of saw that we fit that mold and fit what EC3 is trying to put together. And so that's how that came about. And we had our first show last weekend in Orlando. And EC3 gave me the nod to come to Dallas in 2 weeks for WrestleMania and be the referee. So I'm very grateful for that.
Man, that's awesome. Wow. Hey, your brother. That's awesome, man. So he's the champ, big bro. He's over at Yeah, he's the WWN ACW champ. We actually had a show last night. He I think next week he'll go over 1 year as the champ. So wow,
nice.
Okay,
a little longevity, yeah. And I had nothing to do with that because I haven't been reffing his matches, so that's all him.
Yeah, the fix was not in.
Right.
There's no bias.
You didn't have to give him the quick 3 count.
Big fast 3, right? I didn't have to Earl Hebner him either.
Man, it's crazy. I'm looking at the fire in the background too, man. So you throwing me off right now. It's like, come on, man. Show off.
It's a little Zen area,
Oh yeah, for sure. Nah, I hear you, man. So, real question: how big is Braun Strowman in real life, man?
Oh, that's a large man. He's about up here somewhere. But his arms are like tree trunks.
Yeah, no, for sure.
He really when we walked in last week, we had come from me and my brother, we ran a 10K mud race in Central Florida. So when we showed up, we didn't realize that everyone was supposed to be in like business attire, and we strolled up with like just cutoffs and stuff like that. And he actually looked over at me and he goes, "Well, at least you're jacked." And I go, "Hey, coming from you, I'll take that."
Oh man, that's wild.
Yeah, coming from that guy, that's a compliment.
Right.
Absolutely. So tell us about just like some of your favorite events that you've ever been a part of, or favorite things that you've seen. Like, you did mention obviously being WWE. And you've been a part of a ton of events. Of the one time I saw you, that was in Michigan, right? When we was over in Livonia, right?
Yeah.
And you were reffing in, and then you ended up wrestling a little bit later on that day, right?
Oh yeah, that was
right?
Chicago. Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun one. That was back, before the pandemic. Fortunately, we were still able to travel back then, so that was really fun. I'm glad I came in on that end of an era sort of thing. But yeah, doing the shines that were coupled with the Evolve shows was awesome because we got to do, the day show was the women's wrestling, and then we took a little break, and then we had, the men's, NXT / developmental guys in the evening. So
Okay.
yeah, that was a fun show. And I saw you up in Detroit. And then, the next night we were in Chicago. And that's when I got to dress up like, I was like the surfing gorilla or some shit. And I hit an elbow drop from the top rope.
You were a furry.
I was furry, yeah. There's a trend there, I think. Yeah. So I was a rabbit at WrestleMania. So I'm just all kind of animals.
Right? Oh, check you out, man. I remember my favorite event seeing you in, man, was when you arrested Jeff Hardy. Like, that was like the funniest thing.
Yeah. That was quite an experience.
Man, who's some of your favorite personalities you've seen backstage?
Just working with guys, I think that like were around when I was still not like a little kid, but like growing up and still being just a fan in this business before, long before I ever started refereeing or anything like that. Guys like Randy Orton, guys like, especially like as a kid, like growing up and working with guys like Hulk Hogan and Triple H, and having Triple H as not like a supervisor, but like, when I was working at NXT doing extra work, he was the man in charge. So just seeing him in a different capacity, like instead of just like being a fan, of taking direction from him, and a lot of those guys, asking me like what my opinion was on a certain segment or something like that, and actually taking opinions from me. That meant a lot to me because, like, who am I? To me, it's like, who am I? Like, I'm just an extra here. And so that was a really good segment with Jeff Hardy because he's just a genius. Like, the way his mind works it was really nice to just sit and talk with him. Another favorite of mine was the Seth Rollins angle I did for a while there when he was putting people's eyes through steel stairs. So several weeks in a row.
He put Ray's eye out. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I was the doctor for that match, for the eye for an eye match, and then, but like the several weeks leading up to that on Raw, I was working with Seth Rollins and Aleister Black, and then Dominic Mysterio was just coming up then. And shout out to my boy Dominic. He's a great kid, man, and we kind of got started like together, like right after I got done doing all that extra work is when he had his first match, and now he's doing amazing things. So I love to see that. But awesome. Stuff like that, and then WrestleMania, I'd say it will always be my top moment because I never had an ambition to be a wrestler, so I really never thought I'd have any business making a entrance down that long ass ramp, but I got to. And I got to step in the ring like during WrestleMania, which not a lot of people can say. So even though I was dressed like a bunny rabbit, but
talk about for Bad. You were out there with Bad Bunny.
Yeah, I was the Bad Bunny pre whatever you want to call it, right before the match. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. It's a testament to who you are, man. I mean, we were down in 2018 in New Orleans. And we hung out down there.
Yeah.
And you remember that?
Oh, that was such a great week. Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. And so, we went to the one bar that was there, and that's when we saw everyone, and it was crazy. Just like he was telling me stories, etc. And then we just started rubbing shoulders with everyone, man. Like we saw Sheamus, which I helped Sheamus at my old store. And so you remember we took a picture of us, we ran into, Eric Bischoff, you knew Bischoff's son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We took a picture with Mean Gene Oakland, which that is one of my personal favorites, right?
Rest in peace,
man. Right? We were sitting next to Adam Cole and Britt Baker and all of them, man. Like, that shit was wild, right?
It was wild. When you tell people about that night, it almost doesn't make sense. It was like, just so crazy, yeah.
Man, it was wild, man. And so, like, you go from that and then, like, to actually be at WrestleMania walking down that ramp, man, that is a true testament, man. That's amazing. Like, that doesn't happen to everyone, you know what I mean? You in that small percentage of people, man, and you still doing it, like, you living out the dream, man, and still, living life to the fullest, man. So, hey, man, kudos to you. I'm proud of you, man. We both are.
Thank you, man. I'm very grateful. That's for sure.
So
Don't take none of it for granted.
So, Mr. Kai Douglas, we're all wrestling fans here, and we all have a love for it. But I want to know, when was that moment when you fell in love with wrestling? So for me, it was going way back to WrestleMania, watching the Ultimate Warrior run down the ring, and the face paint and the armbands with the tassels flying, to the point where I wanted a Warrior wrestling buddy. And then, it was like, then I was a fan of every dude with face paint. So Road Warriors and Sting and all of that. So tell me, when was there a moment or someone who caught you and it, had that hold on you where you just loved wrestling? When was that moment?
Yeah, man. Ultimate Warrior was always my favorite. I got him tattooed right here on my bicep here. But he was definitely one of them. But I'll say the moment that always sticks out to me is, growing up, we didn't have the Q or the Gund Arena yet. We were young kids. All we had was Richfield Coliseum. So
shout out to Richfield.
Yeah, so we didn't get a chance to go to many live events. So I'd say the first probably year or two of my love for wrestling was only on TV, watching WWF Superstars on Saturday morning and stuff like that. But I'll never ever forget going to Richfield Coliseum, and it was not long after The Undertaker had debuted. And I'll never forget being in the, like where the entrance is and the barricades right here. Mm-hmm. And I was about 6 feet away when he was making his entrance. And I was kind of backing up because I was terrified. And I remember my father just kind of pushed me a little bit, like towards the barricades. And I was like, holy shit. And he like scared the living daylights out of me. And then just like being that close, I think, to the ring and seeing these guys that were larger than life, it kind of cemented it for me. And then going back after that and watching it on TV more, I feel like it just kind of like built up from there, and then we got the Gund Arena, so we got to go to like SummerSlam '96,
right,
with Vader and Shawn, and the Boiler Room Brawl and stuff like that, and then we had the of course the Attitude Era, which kind of solidified it all for all of us, I think. The awesomeness of professional wrestling.
Yeah, it's funny. My favorite moment as a kid, and I remember when I really loved wrestling, was watching, because I seen No Holds Barred, and you remember it was Zeus and Hogan, that they were working at during the same time on Main Event, and then they had the movie out, man, and it was crazy because. Rest in peace, Tiny Luster, man.
Yeah,
Debo.
Tiny, man. Debo.
Shout out to Debo. Snatching chains, stealing bikes.
That movie, man. I want to watch that because I haven't seen it in so long. I used to have the
years, right?
Yeah, I used to have the VHS, man. I love that movie.
Oh man, that's it. I've seen all the Hulk Hogan movies. I feel like in the theater. So it's that Mr. Nanny, right?
Yeah.
What was the other one? Right? What was the other one?
Was he in? What was the army one? He was wasn't he a soldier or something, like an army guy? I'm visualizing face paint on him, camo paint.
Damn. I can't.
Was he in Three Ninjas?
Was he in Three Ninjas?
Oh man,
he might have been. He might have been in one of them.
Okay. Rocky, Coat, and Tum Tum.
Rocky loves Emily.
Oh man, that's crazy. What's your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling?
Somebody just asked me this yesterday. I haven't even got back.
Excluding yourself and your brother.
Yeah, right.
Not including you.
Yeah.
I would have to say, since it's such a vast, so many different ways you could judge it, by your personal opinion or wrestling skills or just being a polarizing figure. I think I'll just take it down to who meant the most maybe to the business, in my opinion. So I would say Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, The Undertaker. Man, I need more because Stone Cold. I'm thinking of personalities too, people that changed the business. So,
right,
that's a tough one, man. That's really tough. Yeah, I would say Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, The Undertaker, and Stone Cold, and I would let The Rock be like just one off of it, just because like he was more of like an entertainer than a quote unquote wrestler. But I mean, and that could be a hot take, but it's hard. That's tough, man.
Yeah. I feel like there's a whole bunch of different tiers too, man. But Tim, who you got?
Oh man, off the top. So Steve, I don't know if you knew this, but so The Rock is my spirit animal, and we share the same birthday. So for me, The Rock is automatically on my Mount Rushmore.
Oh, nice.
So
Ohana.
yeah, so we're Taurus, May 2nd, kindred spirits. So The Rock is automatically up there for me. And then I got like Macho Man, Taker. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say Bret Hart.
Okay. Hey man, legends in the game.
Yeah.
Austin for me. That's man. I love Austin, man. I was gonna wear my 316 shirt today,
I almost did too.
Yeah, but the thing is that Juice Landry is no longer a Cleveland Brown, so I had to, I don't know, man. It's on my heart. Okay, but Austin, Brock is one of my favorites, man. H. I mean, this dude, Triple H, man. That dude, he bust his. I mean, they all bust their ass, man. You know what I mean? But like that dude, like technical wrestler, man. You know what I mean? Like this dude was on it. I'll say one name, man, that he would definitely be on my Rushmore is RVD. Now I got a story about RVD. So,
oh yeah.
Oh man, I love RVD.
See, that's why it's so hard because, like you said, technical. Like you could do a whole Mount Rushmore of just technical guys,
it's technical
like
wrestlers, right? Exactly,
like Eddie and Chris Benoit, all them guys. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Dean,
yeah, Dean,
yeah, the Dean Malenko for sure. RVD, man. I didn't have cable, so we had cable every blue moon, right? Like I would say, like it was probably we had cable like around every tax season, right? Like I mean, it's just if my dad, he bust his ass, man. My mom did too, but like that was always the first thing to go when we needed to take care of some bills or whatever. So we didn't have cable that often. So I got introduced to the box, and it was at Channel 35 and an ECW on there too.
Oh yeah,
and I'll never forget, man. Like just seeing RVD, like just like his persona, man. I thought he was obviously Jean-Claude Van Damme, right? Rob Van Damme. I mean, he would do the splits on the chairs, like he would jump into the frog splash on the top rope. I mean, he had the personality as well too, man. And I mean, this dude was just a physical freak. I'd never seen anybody as athletic as that guy. And we was down in New Orleans, man. We was at WrestleCon and got a chance to see him, and I took a picture with him. And first thing he asked me, he's like, "Man, what promotion you wrestling with?" And and I was like, man, I just made my heart warm, man. I was like, man, come on, man.
That is a damn good question.
Yeah, that was, man. Shout out to RVD, man. That was my guy. So, Sting was a big influence with me. Watching him, man, like especially like, I mean, this dude's still wrestling at 62, which is crazy to me.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he has a larger than life personality. My guy back in the day too. Since speaking of WCW days, Juice and Liger Thunder. Like that dude, yeah, right. Oh man,
the Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah, oh man, these dudes are out there just doing it. I love that whole thing, and I think that's one of the things right now where, obviously, EC3 has Control Your Narrative. You have AEW, you have Shine. You have like all these promotions right now that are really trying to give WWE their run because they're super stacked. And I'm not gonna try to get political with the shit or whatever, but it just is what it is. WCW was a powerhouse, and they were running the shit for a long time. So, yeah, crazy. See you on the move.
On the
right
move.
Now.
He's on the move. Speaking of on the move,
yeah, I'm trying to get to some more light. There we go.
There you go.
Dark outside.
so off topic. Going back a little bit of ways because we've known each other for a while, and I think this was something I probably forgot that you tried to do, but Jenkins reminded me that you and your brother had a rap career. Tell me about it, man.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about that over the weekend. Actually,
That's crazy.
It's kind of crazy to think of like how many things we've like dabbled in. You know what I mean? But yeah, when we first moved to Florida, that was back in 2009, 2010, down to Clearwater Beach. We got into it. He got a full studio and stuff like that, and
wow.
Yeah, we were just basically just doing like I was always very into lyrics. That's why I resonated a lot with that first podcast you guys had. Tid, you were talking about lyrics are like such a big thing for you, and so I used to just love the guys that would just put on a beat, whether it was somebody else's beat or whatever, and just spit the sickest shit you could, stuff that makes you pause and rewind it and go, did he just say this, and this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, not just stuff that you could mentally bypass over. So I always thought that I had like so many different like, intricate lyrics and stuff like that. So for me, that was mostly just like trying to get all that out. Basically like just going through old notebooks and spitting all the stuff that I could, like just getting bars out there. And then it turned into where we were getting some other people, like some female singers in the area from Tampa, and actually making real songs and stuff like that. So we ended up putting out a mixtape, and then we shot a video for it, and we had like a behind the scenes video, like making the video type deal we did. And then we actually won Best Performance in 2010 in Tampa for the Tampa Bay Hip Hop Awards. So,
wow,
yeah,
that's wild, man.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
What was the name of your group?
Mass and Bro.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the name of it. I was trying to find that shit, man. Like I was gonna find, because man, so since you said it, I'm gonna put the video in the background of this when we talking.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah, it's like, I think it's the first one. It's the song is "Oh My God." It's called.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, man. Bars. That's crazy.
That was my favorite thing about it, was just getting creative. Like Tid said, like with the lyrics, like it's such a lost art nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, I like when people say something and I go, holy shit, like, and then I'd almost have to like Google it to like find out, like, oh shit, that's what that is. I mean, like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's funny listening at a few, like obviously Nas and Jay, like these dudes like way ahead of their times, man. Like if you listen back in Reasonable Doubt, like we play a lot of that in our background music, you know what I mean? And you listen to it and it's like, what was Jay talking about back then, man? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like shit that we weren't even on the landscape of things, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, at all. Yeah. These dudes, man, live 3 and 4 lifetimes, honestly, man. So
that's a funny thing you said that, because like sometimes I feel like that too. I feel like I'm on my like 4th life. Like it's incredible.
absolutely,
and things mean more like the later you get into life. Like same thing like you said with not knowing what they were talking about. Even now I'm watching movies like from in the 90s and jokes like resonate now. I'm like, oh, no, I get, okay.
Right.
When I was a kid, I didn't even know what the hell that meant, but
oh, for sure.
You know.
Oh man, that's too funny. What else you got going on outside of here, man?
Outside of here, I just kind of, for a while there, I was really lucky when I first moved back to Florida, which was in 2019. I moved here so I could do the WWN tryout, which is, which got me my foot in the door of refereeing and everything. So I had saved a lot of money, and then got in a couple car accidents that weren't my fault. So I got some extra money. So I was really grateful for like last 2 years. I really haven't had to work a normal job, which has been really nice. And it's really given me a lot of time to focus on, my nutrition, exercise, and then most importantly, getting myself to these shows. Because a lot of times, a lot of guys can't afford to like just pick up and go. Like I was flying myself to the Detroit show, and I was flying myself to New York City every 2 weeks to perform. And I feel like without all the stars aligning, I wouldn't have maybe had that opportunity. Or if I, had a regular job where I had to try to get off work and stuff like that, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. So now I'm slowly starting to get back into, I really still wouldn't call it like work. I rent jet skis and parasail rides down at the beach, so I get a free tan every day. And I get to talk to people, and they still let me have my time off to do all these shows. Like I said, like Control Your Narratives next in 2 weeks or whenever WrestleMania is. It's in Dallas, so I got to take 4 days off for that. And they're like, "Yeah, man, go, like do your thing." So I'm very grateful for the free time, because really, like, to me, like, time is worth way more than money, because you just can't get that shit back, you know.
No, for sure, for sure.
I get that.
And then with that being said, like, what other like hobbies are you doing outside of, you know, lounging in Florida? You know, what else are you doing to, you know, make the best of your free time?
I'm very into nutrition and my exercise right now. In the last couple of years, I've really dived deep into meditation, and that's been a huge part of my life. Just kind of being on the spiritual path that I'm on now. You know, as you both know, I spent many years partying and living it up and not living in alignment with like what my soul is and who I truly am. And meanwhile, it was fun and everything. I really am enjoying being on this spiritual journey. So a lot of meditation, a lot of like intentional things, and just being mindful in everything I do. Trying to decipher, like, you know, is this gonna benefit me positively or not? That actually has, I feel like, opened me up to so many more things. Just being grateful for what I already have and where I'm at. And I've been spending a lot of time going back and forth to Costa Rica. I try to live like half the year there, whether it's like in 2-3 month increments, and then I come back here. Because my other dream, other than professional wrestling, ever since I was a little kid, was wildlife. Anything from, you know, I always wanted to be like a zookeeper or something like that growing up. And now I'm actually at the point where I am able to do that in an animal sanctuary down in Costa Rica, in Puerto Viejo, Costa Rica, doing rescue and rehabilitation of wild animals, mostly howler monkeys, sloths, leopards, jaguars, all kinds of different animals, and just basically living in the jungle, living like a primitive lifestyle, and then also being able to come back here to Florida and live a quote-unquote normal civilized life as well. So I feel like I'm very blessed to be able to be doing all that kind of stuff, because the wrestling was taken up, you know, when I was working with WWE and stuff like that. You know, that was all I was ever focused on, was when am I going to get that contract? When am I going to get that contract? And it was really eating me alive, like mentally. And all I cared about was that, because, you know, I was told for 2 years, you know, you're up next, you're up next, you're up next. And then now they've gone in a different direction where they want younger people that aren't like necessarily in the business. They want people that are like American Ninja Warriors and ex-football players and stuff like that. So I finally come to terms with that and not holding on so tightly anymore. And it's really opened me up to all these other opportunities too. And like I said, like I was really losing the passion for wrestling for a while there. And then when EC3 and Adam brought me on, it was like, okay, this might be, and I still didn't want to get too, like, I didn't want to grasp that too tight either. But after the show last weekend in Orlando, and just being treated like a real part of the production and not just, oh, that guy, he just counts to 3, he's just a ref. Because a lot of people don't realize how important the referee role is in this business, you know.
For sure.
And you don't really know until you get a good ref how bad all the other ones can be. So like just the fact that they brought me in, they kind of like reignited my fire and got me reinvigorated in this sport. So now it's like I'm still not putting 100% of my focus on one or the other. I'm just focused on like just life in general, and it's just been awesome, man.
That's awesome. I appreciate you, you know, taking time out to save the planet. You out here, you know, shout out to Captain Planet. You out here, you know, doing the damn thing.
That's crazy. So you're talking about like you know, obviously your eating habits and things of that nature is, has changed due to, you live in Costa Rica for, 6 months out of the year. Yeah, what you carnivore, huh?
Yeah, they're more probably, I would say they're probably more on the plant-based side, but I just feel like it's just brought me closer to nature in general, to the fact that, like, now I'm to the point where, like, if it didn't come from the earth in one way or the other, whether it's grew from the ground or, it's an animal that was, fed by the ground, it's probably what's best for us. Like, if you had an option between something with a fancy label has a whole marketing team behind it pushing it, or something that's been here since the beginning of time, you're probably going to want to eat the things that have been here since the beginning of time, because
for sure,
that's what we were meant to eat, and I feel like I feel like the further and further our culture and our us as human beings, we stray away from nature, the harder we make our lives. It might seem on the surface like all these things are conveniences and everything, but everything has a price, like the $1 Million Man says, and getting away from the way we were meant to eat, the way we were meant to socialize and live with each other, the way we were, that we weren't meant to be slaves to the industry of any industry. Like, a lot of people, they think that they need to work all these hours and stuff so they can provide for their families and their kids, and really their kids, all they really wanted was their time anyway. Like, at the end of the day, it's kind of taking us away from our natural, and that's like one big thing that I learned on my recent ayahuasca journey, because I went down to Costa Rica to practice with plant medicine. And like the biggest epiphany I had of that was basically, in a nutshell, like the overall running away from nature, and we should be running towards it full speed, arms open. You know what I mean? Because
makes sense.
If you look at animals, they're not depressed. They're not, in this rat race for like status and all this stuff and promotions and stuff. They're just like, their goals every day is, shelter, food, water, and their families, and reproducing. And, outside of that, I mean, I feel like everything else outside of that is just kind of, it's great, but when it gets to the point of like affecting your mental health and stuff, it's just not worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and true, man. It's funny. We have too much of excess and access, and those two things, and and those have an effect on the environment, and so when you speak of big corporations and us running away from nature and those types of things, we don't have a value for wildlife like we should. We don't have a value for nature as we should, and so we do need to dump things down and scale back on things. And so appreciate you and the crew that you're with, the organization that you're with, to go down and to, restore some things in order. That's extremely important,
or at least try, because I feel like a lot of people can get really hung up on that too, is when they feel like they're doing so much and they're not making a difference, because at the end of the day, until everyone's on the same page, it's never going to be 100%. But I feel like even just trying to do a little bit of things here and there definitely does help.
For sure.
As we saw, like during the pandemic, like when there was restrictions on everything, like you saw like a lot of the animal life coming back to fruition, a lot of the things that didn't have a chance to be suppressed anymore. Like, before we were here, the planet was thriving, and after we're long gone, it's going to be right back to business. Like, that's the great thing about this planet, is it provides everything we need. And not that we have evidence, but I don't know if any other planet does that. You know what I mean? Like, this planet,
for sure.
This planet's job is literally to provide life and sustenance. And if we just can't, sometimes we just get the hell out of the way. And I feel like that goes to a lot of things. Like, we just get in our own way, like as far as like the planet goes, and as in our own mentals. Like I was saying, like I was like clinging so tightly to these things and what I should be doing or what I deserve and all that stuff. And once I learned to just let go and just get the hell out of my own head, like things just kind of happen naturally, and it's awesome.
For sure. I appreciate people. This gentleman is dropping knowledge on us. Like, this is like, I know we talk sports and we all bullshit, but like things like this and honest conversations like this are things that need to happen more often, where we can, just be open and honest about things and, don't overcomplicate lives. Like you said, our planet is literally self-sustaining. Like, we need to take more advantage of the fact that everything on this planet can be used, and we're wasting resources on having easy accessibility, because we can get things right now from Amazon and Grubhub and Uber Eats, when we should be valuing farming and agriculture and like you said, eating from the land. I mean, hell, Steve, I'm going to a restaurant where the chef is only doing farm to table, and he's supporting local farmers and he's supporting grass-fed things, and nothing on his menu is processed. And like, there needs to be more of that, because we're not valuing our natural resources enough. And I think people like you who are shedding light to these things, and people like me who are in the service industry using these resources in that way, goes a long way to saving this damn planet.
Yeah. And also the people of the planet, like you said, like the restaurants that do farm to table, I think that's going to be a thing that, at least I hope that becomes a thing, that goes further, because sometimes it might cost more. It might be, a little bit more I can see why restaurants use like the cheapest of the cheap, like canola oils and stuff like that, because they're being driven by profit. But if we can get past, if we can get people over profit, which is a saying that I love, I think we'll all benefit in the long run. Because even back in the day, you might have went out and killed a buffalo or something like that, but that doesn't mean that one person was eating that whole buffalo. That had to go to everyone in that tribe. Like, everyone had to have equal share, and like, it's the civilized culture of this is mine and that's yours, and that's where we kind of get into the dilemma that we're in now, and that only gets worse, because you got to think, like, what are we really serving at that point? Because it's not us.
Absolutely, man. You brought it up a point of, mental health and getting in our way of our own things. And, these past 2 years have been pretty interesting, for the world and for us personally, So, this podcast started, and we talked about this shit for years. Like, it might have been well over a decade, I think, when podcasts were coming out. And, we got to a point where it's just like, we just got to do it. Like, what's the fear in that? Ted was talking about earlier going to a therapist. I have weekly sessions, like just doing more reading and trying to get into meditation. It's done wonders for you, and I hear plenty of great things about it. That's obviously something that, I want to venture out and do. So, what's the app that do you use an app currently, or where did you learn how to meditate?
Yeah, I was using the app like a couple years ago when I first started. I was using the Calm app, and I know since then there's been a lot of other good ones now. But now I just kind of go on YouTube or something and put on like some theta waves or something like that. Binaural beats, something that just kind of assists with getting you into that zone. And a practice I really learned, one of the other retreat members on my ayahuasca retreat that I just came back from, he taught me a really good one. He said, try to get, every time you breathe in, like, say to yourself, like, not out loud, but that you're breathing in, you're breathing out, and then count to 1. And then you're going to always have things that are coming in. But if it's something that comes in and it's a distraction, and you get pulled away and you can't remember the next number you were supposed to get to, you got to start back at 1 again. And the goal is just to get to 10 once, which seems easy, but it can be hard. So that's been a new one that at least that I've been working on in the last few weeks, is getting to 10 and then starting over and getting to 10 again. And you're still going to get thoughts that come in, but the difference between a thought and then following that thought and getting involved in it, that's when you lose your track of your number. Like, you know, you could see a car driving down the street and you could see it pass you, but you're not turning around and like looking at it. That's how bad things happen. But if you can get to the point where you observe that it's there and you let it go, and then you could still continue on your drive, or you know, that's just a hypothetical, but like you can use that in any aspect of life, you know.
Okay.
Like another one was like, he was saying like, you sit on the side of the freeway and you watch the cars go by and you just watch it. And then when it's gone, it's gone. But if you watched it and then you like were like somehow got into that car and now you took off with it, you're long gone from where you were, where you started at, or where you wanted to be. You know what I mean? So just trying to just be mindful and everything. And even with eating, like I never was the kind of person that would, you know, think much of it. You know, it's like, I know I got like 20 minutes to eat, so I make my food and I eat it. And now like I sit there and like I say thank you to the planet, and I try to think of like, you know, that cow like ate grass, so I was like trying to think of like how the soil grew the grass and how that cow ate the soil or ate the grass and then formed into now what's on my plate. And without that, you know, it wouldn't be a part of me, and I wouldn't have the sustenance to help give back to the planet. It's all just a big chain. So I think just being like mindful of everyday situations, especially in driving, I think it helps too, because, you know, like driving is like, that's one of the craziest things we do every day. Like some people think like, oh, you're crazy for doing this or that. Like the craziest thing I do every day is get in my car and go to work. You know what I mean? Like, people are so distracted nowadays on their phones and stuff. So I think bringing mindfulness into that has really helped me like drive safer. And, you know, I'm always like scanning ahead of me and like noticing if someone's blowing a red light or something like that. And that's just another example. But like, I just think mindfulness in general, in every aspect of life, it can be nothing but helpful, because you're actually thinking about all of it without getting absorbed into any of it. So just makes you more cautious and appreciative, I think, at the end of the day.
Damn, that's hella deep. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Real quick. So obviously you are the weight maker of, you know, cinder blocks, and, you know, especially that was awesome. When everything was shut down, I see Steve with a Home Depot and Lowe's just you know, making, you know, weights out of cinder blocks, man, and that shit was amazing to me, man. That was crazy.
Yeah, prison workout.
Yeah, for sure. Have you seen the dude? His name is Mikey Mac O'Brien. This dude, literally, he's been a feature on SportsCenter, etc. But this dude like has a garage gym, and he does all types of insane stuff like barbells and chains and shit. Like, so like, one time he had like, I think 4 or 5 barbells connected, and he was like lifting the shit up and doing like deadlifts and squats with it. Like, it was wild.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. Yeah, this dude is crazy. He did this one broomstick challenge. Have you seen that? Where the dude had a broomstick too? You seen that? They have like a broomstick and they're like knees on the mat and they're trying to get up. Like,
I've seen that.
Right. So this dude did it with like 225, and so he laid on the ground and like was trying to roll, and he got up and then like did a squat off of it. Like, it was wild, man. I was like, what are you talking about? But what's like on the next list of accomplishments for you? So you talked about you did a race earlier this week, this past weekend. What's next for you? I'd like to continue doing that. In January of this year, me and a couple other wrestlers from down in North Carolina, we did this 100 miles in January like challenge. It was from the American Cancer Society put it on. So once February hit, I kind of took a little break from running. I just wanted to get back into like just working out and stuff like that, because I felt like I was focusing on that. But I would like to. My goal is to run a half marathon and a marathon this year, and I've done a half several times, just like, but not like officially, just like on my own. So I'd like to do one of those each. This year I'm going to climb Mount Chiripo. It's the tallest mountain in Costa Rica. So that's been a goal of mine for a little while. So I'm going to knock that out.
I just re-enrolled in my personal training classes, which I had started about 5-6 years ago, and I never even opened the book once. So I called them the other day, and they said, like, well, we're on like 4 more editions newer than the old one, so you got to throw that old book out, and we'll send you a new one. So, so I just got a new one of those. So I'd like to. I want to bring a new approach to personal training and exercise, though, because now I feel like all the tools that I've been fortunate enough to learn from, I want to I had never seen anyone else really bring all the different aspects together. So I'm working on something right now where I want to do retreats, but fitness retreats. Like, you always see like meditation retreats, you see yoga retreats, you see, like the one I went on, like plant medicine, stuff like that, higher consciousness, stuff like that. I want to do something where it's more like functional fitness, whether it's, doing barefoot runs, like sprints and stuff up hills, ice baths, which I'm really big on, saunas, like the heat, getting heat and cold adapted, because that does so many wonders for our bodies at a cellular level.
Right.
I want to teach meditation, so and also nutrition. So I was trying to think of, okay, I could have a company for each one, but my goal now this year is to kind of bring all that stuff together and almost make like somewhere some people can go. And I think Costa Rica would just be great, just because I've had so much history there now, and I know so many people and landowners and stuff like that, where I could have my own retreat where it's like a indigenous, like a primal fitness type thing, like kind of like you were saying, like the dude with these new workouts, like you're like trying to get up off the ground, and it's functional things like you would have done like if you lived in the wild, like if you're climbing a mountain or you had to like get up in a tree to get some fruit or something like that. It's not going to be your typical bench press, squat, deadlift, right, which is all great, and I still love doing all that stuff too, but I want to get more into the functional stuff. I've tried yoga and it's just not for me. But I feel like there's other ways to make your own, like a primitives type yoga where you're doing all these different like movements that you would do in the wild and stuff like that, and coupling that with meditation and breath work is really huge. It's getting bigger now. Basically just teaching people how to treat their bodies naturally and take advantage of the tools that we have already inside of us, because we really do. And that's another thing I learned on my trip, was like the medicine is always like inside of us already. It's just how we need to like learn how to tap into that. And a lot of things we do and are exposed to, which I believe are by design, are to keep us away from being able to tap into our fullest potential. Everything from, fluoride in the water and the constant, instant gratification and stimulation of our phones and our, driving down to work there tonight, driving down the freeway, and I'm seeing like these billboards that flash, 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 and like no wonder like Vegas is drawing people in like flies. Like everything in our environment is created to stimulate us and give us this instant gratification. And when I spent that week a couple weeks ago up in the mountains of Costa Rica, we weren't allowed to have any cell phones, any books, nothing. Like our entertainment, our television was a fire. Like we just had to sit around the fire. We weren't allowed to talk. It was just silence only. And it was just so nice to get back to like basics. And then at the end of the week, when they all gave us our phones back, like I didn't turn my phone on for like a good almost day. I was like, I can't. Like I don't want this right now. Like I had no urge to go see like who was doing what on Instagram or something like that. And I was just trying to. Now I'm actually implementing a new thing that I made up. I've been doing intermittent fasting for a long time, which you guys know about that. It's, when you eat for a certain window and then you fast. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing that now with social media and my phone in general. So like 18 hours of the day is when you don't eat, when you're doing intermittent fasting. So I'm trying to do that with my phone too. So that little window I have, I better get everything done, or else that's not coming back around till 24 hours later. And then one day a week, I'm without the phone completely at all. I won't even turn it on.
Okay.
And I just think I can tell it's making a huge difference, and just not being reliant on that those dopamine hits, because it's crazy when you think of like how many people are actually their job is to get us to be addicted. Like Facebook and Instagram and all these things, like they have whole departments of people that are meant to like keep you logged in, whether it's sending a notification that gets you to get back on the app, and now that you're on the app, now you're down another rabbit hole and stuff again. Like, it's things like that are free. Like they're not really free. Like we're the price, we're the cost. Just because it doesn't cost paper money doesn't mean it's not costing us something. So.
For sure.
What was that? Big tobacco? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like all of those things you used to see, right? Like what's the next cash cow? And it's technology and social media.
Yeah.
You're right, man.
And I feel like I've done such a good job of like, I used to party all the time in my 20s and early 30s and stuff. And I've done such a great job of like ending almost every addiction I've ever had, but social media is still there. So it's like now I'm trying to like work on that, because you can't go without it completely in this day and age, especially
right.
The fact that once I start this business with training and just overall wellness, I'm going to want to spread that message. So I'm not going to be able to do that by smoke signal, unfortunately.
For sure.
But trying to just, I guess, get it under control a little bit better, because it really is. It's not much more of an addiction than alcohol was for me, at least. It's
right.
When you look back and it's like, well, why was I doing that? And you look back, and now I look back now and be like, well, why was I on Instagram for 3 hours when what I went on there to accomplish only took 25 minutes? So.
No more king cobras.
Yeah. Oh shit. No more Mickey's wide mouth.
Yeah.
Right. Lord have mercy.
That was another lifetime ago.
We done come a long way, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, for sure. But I can't say enough. This man is a jack of all trades. I appreciate you taking time to even chat with us, man, because you're a busy guy. So I appreciate you, cutting out a part of your day.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Before you go, we got one more thing just to talk about real quick. We're going to do a quick game of One Gotta Go. Just go through a few of them, right? Oh. All right. So we were talking about Debo earlier, Tiny Lester. One Gotta Go. Debo, Big Worm, Money Mike, or Pinky?
I'm going to go with Money Mike.
Yeah. That's real. Okay.
Oh.
Tia, what you got?
Well, you gotta have Pinky, right? So I could, I could do without Big Worm. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. What's up, Big Perm? Big Worm.
Yeah, I'd say those two. Yeah, those two are
for sure. Yeah. Pinky is Clifton Powell, man. Shout out to that dude, man. It's super needful for that on the Friday. Let's see. So Pixar, we got Monsters Inc., The Incredibles, Nemo, or Toy Story.
I would say Toy Story and Nemo gotta stay. Those are my two favorites. So I'd say probably Incredibles. Yeah. Toy Story is like a whole thing now. It's like not even just one movie.
Sure.
It's like a lifestyle.
You got decades. By the way, Buzz got a new movie coming out soon.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
They might be adding some new features to the down in Orlando. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Right. I've never been to Disney World. That's your world. Y'all, you're Florida boys.
Yeah. Especially like living like near Orlando, I feel like it's like one of the main things to do with no beach over there.
Yeah, for sure. WWE tag team. So we got APA, the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, or Dudley Boys.
Oh wow, that's tough.
Yeah.
I think with the imprint that the TLC matches left on me in the Attitude Era, just by default, I got to drop APA out. but can't demean anything they've done for the business, singly or in tags. Like Ron Simmons,
Damn.
he was always, yeah,
Damn.
he always meant a lot to me even before the APA stuff. So sorry guys, the APA's got to go.
What were the
Oh,
choices?
man.
What was it? You said Edge and Christian, Hardys, Dudleys.
Edge and Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, and APA.
Well, I can't cut the Dudleys because anybody tables. Devon get the tables. That's synonymous, right? Oh man. I mean Hardys. Shit. I would probably say Edge and Christian, and that's tough. Tough.
Yeah, that is tough.
Although if you did take one of them groups out and you said take Edge and Christian out, if you would just inserted APA into that, I think that whole TLC revolution still would have been as great as it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, what we do know is that Matt and Jeff Hardy, they won't go anywhere. They are on everyone's list. This is a couple other ones. We got One Gotta Go, New Edition, Drew Hill, Boyz II Men, or Jodeci.
These are good. These are good because I'm a 90s R&B fan to the death, so that's tough.
Well, Ted was in a couple of them.
Oh, yeah.
So
Steve, remember the talent? You remember the talent show when I was dancing to 112 for no reason, doing Peaches and Cream?
Yep.
Doing Peaches and Cream with Petty and them.
Yep. Oh man, that was such a great show.
So that's why that's your song, man. Because like every time Peaches and Cream would come over to the club, man, that's where if we're in Vegas or LA, you just see Ted.
I was a little extra. There was a little extra in the two-step. For sure.
As soon as I hear that first note of Peaches and Cream, like, what was that, the synthesizer or whatever they use? Like
yeah. Right.
Yeah, so I would have
who
to
y'all, this is a hard choice. Who y'all taking out?
Yeah, I'm gonna take New Edition only because I feel like I know more songs by the other three. Let's just keep it simple that way.
Okay.
Or I resonate with them at least more. Like Drew Hill, I'm a huge Drew Hill fan. So
for sure.
What about you, Ted?
I hate to take Drew Hill out, but I gotta. Cause Jodeci, like that was, man. I can't even not have mid 90s R&B. Like I was still my dad's Jodeci CDs and tapes, like so I can't take Jodeci out. New Edition, I mean, we all know to step away from the microphone, come back to the microphone. Like that's I can't take them out, and we already talked about 112. Nope. So by default, it's Drew Hill, and it hurts because we all remember.
I would honestly have to take Jodeci out. Like, because New Edition evolved and you had BBD, right? So like, that's two groups in one. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Boyz II Men, I couldn't, man. Like that was hits on top of hits. Jodeci, man, I love Jodeci. They had two albums. I feel like, what was it, 2 or 3? No, 3. But even with that, man, no, like then Drew Hill, Cisco had his own run, man. Like, yeah, that's it. Sorry, Casey and JoJo. Last one gotta go. Cereals, Lucky Charms, Fruit Loops, Frosted Flakes, or Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Definitely not Cinnamon Toast Crunch. The other 3 can hit the bricks. Because I don't eat that stuff anymore, but if I did, it would be Cinnamon Toast Crunch all day long for sure.
Yeah.
I never was a fan of Lucky Charms, though. I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tia, what you got?
I'm going to go. So, Cinnamon Toast Crunch stays. A little bit of milk. Not too much milk because they get soggy. So, a little bit of milk. Same with the Frosted Flakes. I like the crunchy, either you put a little bit on a bowl or a little bit of milk. So, those two stay. And then you said Charms or
Fruit Loops.
Out of respect to my wife and kids, they all love Fruit Loops, so I guess Lucky Charms got to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lucky Charms got to go. Now, if it was Count Chocolate, that'd be a different story.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, now do y'all know that Count Chocolate isn't sold all year round anymore?
Really?
Like they stopped selling it all year round. They only bring it out during Halloween season. I still have 3 boxes in my cabinet right now in my pantry because I bought like 7 or 8 big family size boxes.
That's probably smart. Make you look forward to it. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So yeah. Hey brother, we appreciate you being on here, man. Love it, man.
Hey man, thank you for
Proud
having
of
me,
you.
man. This is such a
Of
great
course,
concept
anytime.
you guys got going. Like, this isn't just sports; it's like everything. So it's like such a great concept you guys have come up with. So I'm privileged to be a part of it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. When you get your we'll obviously be in contact, but when you get your platform up and running, as far as for your fitness program, please let us know. We'll promote the shit out of it on here.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that.
all right, brother. We'll catch up soon, man.
All right, thank
we
you,
gotta
guys.
hit the road at some point.
Thank you.
All right,
Have
brother.
a blessed
Peace.
day. All right.
Yeah, you too. So, man, great episode, man.
Great episode.
Great topics. Had a great guest on.
Shout out to
Thanks
Steve.
again to Steve. Yep. Kai Douglas.
Shout out to Streetsboro Rockets.
Right.
See, I knew I had shout outs.
Yeah, I know you did.
Shout out Portage County.
Man, shout out Sheets.
Shout out Steak and Shake.
Yeah. He was talking about it earlier, about during COVID, the earth reclaiming itself, right? And wildlife. And I totally see that with the gas right now.
For sure.
Yeah, we always talk about I Am Legend, right? And like the gas on that, on the screen it had, $7 gas. We're at that point right now. $7 gas. It's crazy. I saw $6.59 down the street from me. And the credit cards, they gotta, and debit cards, they gotta up the limits now because you spend $100 on gas, that's only gonna get you 13 gallons.
It's crazy.
It's a damn shame.
It's crazy.
Damn shame. Yeah. Shout out to our friends out there that we talk to every damn day. Jason Gamble, Javon Cooper, Taylor Duncan, Chris Duncan, Jamal Ingram, who will be on the show at some point. Yeah, it's been fun, man. I can't believe this is our 5th episode. They just kind of just keep on popping. If you guys are listening to this, podcast, thank you again. Please share this with your friends.
Yes.
We're need some
Spread
more
the wealth.
exposure. Yes, please. Thank you. Next week we got Oscar Retro Bowman joining us from warm Miami, Florida. He's a god in the sneaker culture and also a really awesome photographer down there. So he's going to be joining us next week. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Tiamore. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins.
Yeah. This is the Modest Man Podcast with Jason and Justin. Love you guys. Be safe.
Appreciate
Peace,
it.
man.
Love y'all.